This I got it from Masai
to
Mara.
learn
Sorry,
these
yeah.
techniques.
Found
I would
are
just have
similar,
one
something in Nepal can
Here you
do.
go.
Yes.
What's this?
This is a Berber jacket that I got in Morocco.
Which is from Tibet. Shot glasses from wherever we go.
My binoculars.
A piece of Nazcan pottery from Peru.
My tattoo, I actually got it when I was in Bangkok. My very first ticket, my first trip abroad as an 18-year-old.
I got it from Masai Mara during our first family safari.
5 of us sailed across the Atlantic. One of the guys on the boat had worked on tool ships, and this would have been an old school CV.
I was wandering around Essaouira and I got chatting to this guy whose name was Lassan, an old Moroccan guy who has like 6 grandkids, and I sat in his shop for ages and we just sat and chatted about the world and everything, and we had so much in common. That's why it's really special to me, because it's about the connections that you make with people as you travel.
I've met so many incredible people. We went across Tibet, we went to Everest Base Camp, so you forge these incredible bonds and you really help each other.
The very small things stick with us. So the way a stranger made us feel in a foreign country, the way food tastes, the way language sounds in different places. When we come home or when we go to a new place, we are, without even realizing it, exploring a bit more.
Because it makes you want to discover, it makes you want to take that extra step and get you out of your comfort zone, which is, I think, where experiences make you grow more. If you are curious, you will want to go and try that other dish or try and go that other island. Dancing in the carnival in Rio, swimming with shark whales in Thailand. It could be in many different ways. But you have to have that curiosity, because I think that's what made the first travelers in history go out.
I wouldn't be the person that I am today had I not gone travelling. And until you've gone out and experienced our differences, you can't understand it truly.
Just to feel completely wowed by something is so refreshing. You only need to feel it a couple of times on a big trip and it will just stay with you for years to come. You know, I feel like a bit of a different person when I'm away, and I think it's inspiring. I think it's important to do.